Hi guys, Glader here. So today I have a bit of an announcement. You've probably been wondering where I've been. The PSOBB updates have not been coming out. Well, today I'm announcing that something called GladNet3, which is a free open source networking library, has essentially been birthed from the Phantasy Star Online project. The network client that was part of the Phantasy Star Online project has essentially been ported as if it were a prototype to GladNet3 and made extensible. Now you're probably wondering why I've done this, and well, I like to develop applications, and I'm sure Phantasy Star Online project won't be the last, and I do have other projects as well, and I would like to unify a lot of the code that they rely on. And to talk a bit about the unity that's happening here, or the unification, well, the GladNet3 is the third generation of a networking library I've been working on for several years. It feels like it's always been terrible, to be honest. It's never been great. It hasn't reached the potential I wanted it to. This time, I feel that it fills a niche that other networking libraries haven't touched, really. And that is a focus on network client server emulation for game development. And you can see this long, fancy sounding acronym right here is essentially what GladNet means now. And the reason I want to do this is I feel like something similar to ASP.NET could and should exist for the emulation community. I want to develop game applications or emulated games, clients, and servers, and unifying those would benefit every project that I work on, and potentially those projects would benefit from other projects other people work on with this technology. If they were to improve performance or extend the API and stuff like that, all projects would benefit. And so this unification process took a little longer than I wanted it to. I'm sorry, not unification process, but porting this over to GladNet3, because it required some things to allow it to work for also World of Warcraft. Sorry, I haven't mentioned that yet. One of the main benefactors initially of this project will be the World of Warcraft client emulation project for Trinity Core servers and etc. So it's already been made to work with that. I don't have a video of that, but I'll go ahead and run real quick through just to show you that it's working for Phantasy Star Online now. We'll just log in. So you're not going to see anything new here for Phantasy Star Online, but it's just to highlight that things are working. And you can see you can still enter the lobby and all that jazz. And so now all the work that's done for Phantasy Star Online will also potentially benefit for World of Warcraft, the World of Warcraft projects I work on, and vice versa, and potentially other projects down the line, maybe PSU, PSO2, I don't know. But I think that this technology is extendable, and now I'm going to go a little bit into depth of how it's extendable. So the entire client is similar to another technology I built called typesafe.http.net, and it's like a buffet of features. That is to say that you get to pick what you want. For example, you can see here I've got highlighted the .NET TCP client, and if you want to build something on top of the TCP client, you would include this package here. And while there's only one implementation of the client API right now, which is this one, it's been built to allow many. For example, in typesafe.http.net, I have an implementation for both REST and also the .NET HTTP client. And of course that can support more than two as well, so it's been designed in a similar fashion. And we actually, on the GitHub, I try to list out potential features. I'd like to support HTTP, but I might just do it through typesafe.http.net. And HTTP honestly is way easier to emulate. RUDP, I would like to provide also a Lingrit client if you want to just develop applications without emulation. And so there's a lot of features planned. for clients, as well as serialization. Right now we support a single serializer, which is the FreeCraft Core serializer. This is, if I haven't told you before, this is a custom attribute / metadata based serializer for World of Warcraft. It's also used in the Phantasy Star Online project, and in the README you've got a little example of how you do serialization. It follows the conventions that you might find in other .NET serializers, such as protobuf.net, where you annotate or add attributes to fields, properties, and classes to indicate how the data should be serialized. And so this is again a custom binary serializer. So, it supports a superset of the World of Warcraft protocol, except for one little case that I've encountered. Like, there's still one little thing I have to do, but enough about that. So, this is a very powerful serializer. It is pretty decent performance, especially for how it accomplishes what it does. It competes very well against protobuf.net, and it's also very extendable. I'm going to hop into the Phantasy Star Online project and actually show you how you just show you what a packet looks like with this serializer. Let's take a look at. No, these aren't packets. Up here. Let's take a look at the ship, and let's take a look at. Oh no, I'm sorry, block. Yeah, let's take a look at what the payloads look like on the block. So you have game join event, and you can see that these are DTOs, domain translation or transfer objects, sorry, and you essentially create an instance of this, and you send it right through the serializer. It's a high-level overview, so you can see that this isn't raw data. It's very well structured. And if we go to the client version, we can actually let's go ahead and find it. I'll show you how these are actually sent. This is how you actually send a message. You don't do hand serialization. You don't serialize and turn into bytes each individual field yourself. The underlying serializer takes care of that. So it's very high level, very high productivity, and you don't have to worry about any of this hand serialization. You don't see that anywhere. You're not going to see it anywhere that we're taking this integer and turning it into bytes. Serializer does that, and it knows how to. It understands these types and the annotations, which there are many different types. Let me see if I can find one that has. Let's take a look at the commands. I'm looking for one that has a little bit more interesting layout to it. I should probably have this prepared. Let's see, chat. Is there a chat one? Pretty sure there's a chat one. Maybe that's a payload. Looking for one with a string that can sort of show you. Okay, see, here's one with known size. You can tell it how many of these items there should be. Let's see. I know there's other ones that would be interesting to show. Here's one that sends size. So we actually read the size here to know how many entries there are. So you basically tell the serializer with attributes how it should be done. And this is going to work for several several emulation projects that require custom binary formats for serialization or packets and payloads and such. And so that's the most important critical feature, and there's already integration with GladNet3 for this, which you can see here. It's very simple. We provide an adapter. We provide a serialization API specific to GladNet3 and build an adapter around other serializers. So another serialization scenario that I want to support is protobuf and JSON. Those are the biggest ones, and that'll pretty much cover essentially most projects I think that you'll encounter for emulation. And so yeah, so that's been another goal. So there's also a crypto API, but I don't implement any cryptography in here. This is very specific to a project usually. They don't usually do anything that can be standardized. They often do their own slight variations of things, but we do provide a crypto API. And just like a buffet, in the buffet style, you actually control how data is sent by decorating the original network client with all these different functions. And you can add some and leave some, and it supports both World of Warcraft and Phantasy Star Online use cases already, and it should support even more than that. So that's GladNet3. I think this is going to be the niche that GladNet3 finally fills. It's called Glader's Library of Advanced Development for Network Emulation Technologies, and I hope that it'll see some standardization like ASP.NET in the emulation community, and I hope to bring you more updates in the future.